I know you guys are listening to me. Okay. Okay. Okay, so today's session is going to be um Israel, have you started recording? Okay. Okay, so today's session is going to be a very interactive one because we'll be cleaning a real data set. So you actually see how we work with real life data set and all. So make sure you guys pay attention because at the end of the day, the assignment you guys are going to do, you're going to repeat what I did because I want you guys to practice it on your own end also. And then you also come up with like 3 questions after. So let me share my screen. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Okay. So this is the awesome chocolate data, and we are going to be answering some questions. And yeah, sorry. Okay, so from the look of this data, we can see that it is already in a tabular form. And normally, the reason why we put our data in a tabular form is so that we can understand it better, and it just makes it look good aesthetically. So, and also it's also easier to sort this way. We can remove this, and then we can also put it back. So let me just first of all show you guys how um, let me this is okay. So how does this data look like? We have the salesperson, we have the geography, we have the product, and we have the amount and units. So the geography here tells us where this particular person sold this product. So Ram Mahesh now sells 70% dark by amount, and he sold 114 items for this amount. So basically, whenever you have a data set, you first of all try to understand what is your data about, because you cannot really perform analysis when you don't understand your data. So one very common way of performing analysis is by doing a quick statistics. And when I say quick statistics, I'm talking about finding the average, the median, the mode, the standard deviation to kind of understand your data sets more. So we're going to perform quick statistics on this data set. So I'm going to create a new worksheet here and name it quick statistics. So what are the quick statistics I want to do? I need to find the mean, the median, mode, distribution, minimum value, maximum value. What other stuff? We have range, and then variance. Yeah, I think this is okay. So let me. So we can see that our numerical data here, we have the amounts and units data. So we're going to perform quick statistics on our numerical data here, units. So the way we find the average of a particular numerical data, we use the average function, the way we find the mean, sorry. So we can use average, then you go to your data here, click the amount, then on your keyboard, you click Shift Control arrow down to select the whole column, the whole data in the column. So you copy that, and then you can see we already, like on this place, we have what we want to do. Then click on Enter, and then we can see our mean value for the amount column. To get the one for the units, we can just fill to the right, and we have 152 for the mean value of the units column. We can do the same thing for our median by using the median formula and do the same process of shift control and enter. Same with the mode. So let me just quickly do that, and then I'll explain what this result is actually telling us about our data. Mode. Standard deviation. And our minimum value. Then maximum value. And to find our range, the maximum value minus the minimum value. So we can just do maximum minus minimum here. Enter that. And then variance. Mhm. Okay, so we can just autofill to the right to get the results for the units. So whenever we have like a lot of numerical columns, we can just do that easily rather than writing the whole formulas again one by one. Okay, so from this data now, we can see that on average, our sales amount hover around 400 4,136, and for our units, we have on average we sell 152 units of items, and our median value here is 3437, and is our mode is sorry our mode is 339. When you look at this data, you kind of see that there is an outlier in your data set, because our median value is 3,437, and our mean is 4,136. So this shows us that there might be like a very, very large value that contributed to the high value of the mean. So our standard deviation also, we have a very large value of 3,124, and this shows us that the spread of our data is very high. That means it varies a lot. We have extremely low values and high values. So that's why we have a very high standard deviation. We can see our minimum where does this distribution start from? It starts from 0 to 100, what 16,184. So you can also interpret it that way for the units column, and that's how you kind of have summary of what your data is telling you. So to move on to the next question, which is performing exploratory data analysis, ED. Create a new worksheet for that one also.
Excuse me, my raise a hand.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see. Okay,
Please, I didn't get that calculation you did. If you can kindly just repeat, please.
okay, okay. So what I did here to find my mean, for example, I just used the Excel has an inbuilt function where you can use to find all these mean values, median, and mode. I use the average formula. You press equals to on on your keyboard and type average. Then you come to your data here, click on amount. On your keyboard, you click shift control arrow down so you can select everything and just press enter. And then that's how you get the value. So that's what I did for the remaining one, median, mode, standard deviation. I hope you get it now.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
I'm sorry, please. I have a question too.
Okay.
Um, well, I don't get how you're working on the table, like the table for the data. Like I thought, like they are two different pages. So
Oh,
how come
yes.
like what you're doing is being applied to the data from table is being applied to the new sheet you're working on,
Okay,
something
that's
like that.
because on this particular Excel table, like on my main file, I just created another workbook. So I can always like get my data from the another, like from the main data workbook. So like this is a workbook. The awesome chocolate analysis is a workbook, and it has like many worksheets. So a group of worksheets is what is a workbook. So you can always get an info from another worksheet. I don't know if you really get what I'm trying to say.
Yes, yes, I do. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. So
Please, ma, I want to add one more question, ma. Please.
okay,
You were trying to explain the implication of the mode, the spread of the standard deviation and all. Is there
yes,
like something you can point people to really get it? Because you were just saying them and I can't really apply it really.
okay.
Thank you.
So the thing is that normally, whenever we have standard deviation, normally whatever value we get from a standard deviation, he just explains the spread of the data to us. So if your standard deviation is very small, and let's say your mean is 5 now and your standard deviation is 2, for example, it tells us that the data is very close to the mean value. So they are kind of clustered together because our standard deviation is 2. So whenever you have a lower standard deviation, our the spread of our data is usually like very close to each other. But when we have a very, very high one, the spread of our data is like very big and large. But then, if you have, it depends on the value of our mean. So like this example I gave, I said we have our mean value is 5 and our standard deviation is 2. So you have to also say, maybe do a quick mathematics, like 5 minus 2 is 3. So um like when you subtract the mean value itself is still small. So if I have a mean value of like 10,000 now and my standard deviation is 300, I would say because the standard deviation value is small, it still means our data is kind of like together and clustered around the mean value. So when you have a small standard deviation, the spread of your data is kind of small. But when you have a very big one, the spread of your data is big. And we might the reason why I said there might be an outlier in the data set is because our mean value is 4,136 and our median value and mode value is 3,437. So normally on average our mean should be like around 3,000 something close to this value. But because it is very large, it could mean like maybe some values in our data set are like extremely large, and when we are finding the average, it resulted in a very high mean value. So you just use that one to kind of determine, oh, does your data is stable and all of that. I don't know if you get that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, you're welcome. Okay, so let's go to the EDA part. So because we want to perform EDA on our data, we want to understand our data more. We're just going to copy this data and perform the EDA on another worksheet. So let me copy. Okay. Okay, so one thing people use to explore our data, one tool we use is this conditional formatting. It helps us like now we can decide to check cells that have values that are greater than a particular number. We can check the top 10 items in our amount column. We can check the bottom 10. We can just to have an idea of how the data is. So let me quickly do that here. Let me select this column. Oh, okay, all right. Let me stop sharing and share again. Okay. Okay, let me start again then. So what I was saying was I wanted to perform some conditional formatting to this amount column. So when you say conditional formatting, just like the name, is basically formatting your column and giving it specific conditions. So let me do that for this amount column. Click on conditional formatting and let's say color scalars. You can pick any color you like. So I think from here we can see that the greener your value, the higher the value itself is. And then let me just quickly show that by checking, click on the filter stuff here and click on sort smallest to largest. So you can see for 0 we have them in red, and then it's kind of like gets brighter, then we have green here. So this just shows us like, oh, what are my smallest values, how to just easily see them. So let me clear.
Can you zoom a little for those of us that are joining with our phones,
Okay,
please?
let me know when it is okay. Is this fine?
Yes, it's better.
Okay. So we can also do the same for our units column. Click here, like I said, and go to conditional formatting. You can click on data bars here. So this one just shows us like the length of it kind of like now 159 you can see is smaller than 204 using the cell. So you can also sort this from largest to smallest to see the greatest value. And if you remember from our quick statistics, our minimum value was 150, our maximum value was 52, and you can see it here. Our maximum value here is 55, sorry. So that is one thing we can also do. And to clear these rules, you can just come back to your conditional formatting and clear rules from the entire sheet. So you just clear everything that way. So um okay. Okay, so we can also decide to check the top top 10 items. Let's look at that. Or let's say okay, top 10 items. Okay. Then after clicking on OK, you come back to this filter and filter by color. So we have our top 10 items here, and to go back, we can just even press Ctrl Z on your keyboard, and also um, we can check duplicate values. We can check for duplicate units on this cell. Also shift control arrow down, then conditional formatting, go to highlight cell rules, duplicate values, then okay. Uh, Let me see. So like these are the values that have duplicates in them. This, let me see. Sorry, I'll zoom it back. So all these values, they kind of occur more than once, apart from 237, I guess, and some of these values. So these values kind of occur more than once. So let me clear. Oops. Okay, so let's choose.
Sorry, ma. Please, before you leave this place, can you tell us how you did the top 10 values again?
Okay.
My network froze at that
Wait, ma,
point.
let me add to that. Please, can you keep all the examples? Don't delete them so that we can make reference to them when we want to practice.
Oh, okay. All right. But the reason why I was removing them is because so I could also perform other analysis on it. Okay, yeah, that works also. Okay, so what I did to find the top 10 amount was I selected this amount column, and then I went to conditional formatting, went to top 10 slash bottom rules, and I selected top 10 items. So after clicking on OK, you come to the amount, and then you just filter by color, and then it's going to show you the top 10 amount values. Do you get that now? So the person,
Yes, thank you.
okay,
Yes, thank you.
you're welcome. So let me go to the next question. We are going to find sales by country using formulas. So when they tell us find sales by country, what does that mean? We want to know each how much does each country generate as income. So what's the total amount they generate? So let's make create another worksheet and name it sales by country. Oh, mistake. This one was quick statistic. So let's see. So let me write country and total amount, and we can even decide to add the total units. Okay, so the way we can do this normally to get the unique countries, if you're using Excel 3, Microsoft Excel 365, you can just use the unique function and you get the unique countries. But because most of us we don't really use Excel 365, we can just decide to copy our geography column But before I do that, so that when I copy it, it's not going to show it in a tabular form, I can just decide to remove this in and remove it from the tabular format. So so you just go to design under this table styles, you remove clear, and then I can select this. Okay, is it better now? So you can go to your sales by country here and just copy everything, Control V on your keyboard. So the way we can get the unique values is by removing. So just come to the data tab and remove duplicates. Remove duplicates. It will ask you duplicate in what column. And since our country column is in column A, you just click column A. You just remove B and C. So we have our unique countries here: New Zealand, USA, 6. So the way we can find the total amount they generate is by pressing the economy. We have a function called sum ifs in Excel. It is used to kind of sum a particular, like now the way we want to find the total sum in each country, we can use the sum ifs function to do that. So I'll type sum ifs and then go to my data tab, then select this amount colon. After doing that, I'll come here. So this is the column I want to sum the values. This is, I want to get the total amount from this amount column. Then I'll press comma. You see they said criteria range. So basically criteria range is telling us based on what, which is based on the geographic column. So I'll go back up and select the geographic column also, since we are finding it based on the country. So after that, we'll come back to our sales by country here and click on this first one. So enter. Oops, mistake. Sorry. Let me try that again. Just some years. Okay, so I don't know if you guys got that. So I, like I explained before, you select the amount column, then comma, you're grouping it based on what, the country data. So comma the geography data, then you come back to your sales by country worksheet and click New Zealand, so that it's going to identify for what particular country are you doing that for. So we can just and then you get the amount, the total amount each country generates. So in case some of you didn't get that, I'm going to repeat that step for the units alone, and then I'll just do the autofill too. So like I said, equals sum ifs, then you go back to your data. Here we're going to select our units column instead of the amount column. Then come here, write, put comma, then based on your geography column. And then go back to your data. Oops. Sorry. So let me just do that again. Sorry. Okay. So I think the reason why it was giving me an error before was because I didn't add a comma. So then you can just autofill this also. So using formulas, that's how we can find the sales by country. But then there's a faster way to do this, and this is by using pivot tables. So we are going to do this using the pivot tables again. So oh, okay. Oh, all right. Okay, so for this one, you go to your insert tab and click on pivot tables. So like they said here, pivot table easily arrange and summarizes complex data. And we're going to select our date. Sometimes, I don't know, you might realize this stuff is because the select a table or range is not selected. So if I unselect it, I won't be able to write anything. So you just write your table name, and my table name here is actually table 2. But then in case you're having an issue, you can just go back here, copy everything down, and it works that way also. So this is a pivot table. To get the sales by country, we're just going to add our amount column here. This is what we call a pivot table field. You have all of your column names here, and you can drag it to um, any of these four stuff, like depending on how you want to arrange your pivot table. So I'm going to drag my amount to the value, so it's going to give me the total amount, and then I'm going to drag my units to this also, total units. Then I'm going to drag my geography column to rows. A faster way to do it. We can see we have Australia, the same results we got here. That is what we are also getting here. So let me zoom this so you guys can see it. So if you don't want the grand total, you can just right click on this and remove it. That's how you can do it using pivot table. So let me see the other question, which is, what are the top 5 products by amount per unit? So basically, we can see that first of all, we want to try and understand that question. What's that question trying to say? We said Ram Mahesh generated $1,624 for 114 items. So we want to get want to get the amount of each item. So we're just going to do amount divided by units, and we're going to create a new column for that. So after that, we will now find our top 5 products that way. I don't know if that is clear. Is that clear? Okay, so let me just do that. Top 5 products. So also here we're going to use pivot tables. In case you didn't really understand it, then you can just pay attention more here. Click on insert and click on pivot table. The last time we didn't click on add this data to the data model. That's because we're not really creating a new column. But this time we're going to click add this data to the data model because we want to find the amount per unit for each of the data. So we're going to click add this data to the data model, and you click on the table name, which is table 2, then okay. So, so here we go. So the way we do this is to find the top 5 products. We want to first of all determine our amount per unit. So what we do is we add our amount value here. Also add your unit value here. And this time around we add our products here. So how do we go about finding amount per unit? You just go to the table here, is the data source, and click on it, right click on it, and put add measure. Click on add measure. So measure name, that's amount per unit. Then how do we find that? We're going to do sum of amount.
Please, you need to zoom in. Oh, we can't see.
Oh, sorry, let me go back. Is it better now?
Yes.
Okay. So what I did you see this step when I added the amount and units to these values?
Yes.
Okay. So what we do here is we right click on this table 2 and select add measure. You name your data, which is amount per unit. And also, how do we find that? We are going to, that's by dividing your sum of amount by your sum of units. So sum of amounts divided by sum of units. So we can decide to put it in a currency form, since we've been seeing our amount column in dollars. So dollars here, and click OK. So we can see here that we already added a new data, which is the amount per unit. We can click on amount per unit, and now we can see a new column has been created for each of the amounts per unit. So since we don't really need sum of amounts here, we can just return it back. And yes, that's it. So they said, what are the top 5 products? Here we can see a lot of products. How do we get the top 5 products? You can just come here, value filters, and click on top 10. You can do other operations like finding equals to greater than a particular value, set it based on the condition you want. But here we're going to click top 10, and here, since we want top 10, we click top 5, we just remove 10 and write 5 and select OK. So we can see our top 5 products. You can just arrange this from smallest to the highest and sort from largest to smallest. Let me remove this also. So raspberry choco was the most expensive product, and that's how we do it. You can decide to do bottom 5, bottom 10, however you want. So that's how we find the top 10 products. So is this still? How many more minutes do we have? Okay. So our last question for today is finding the best sales person by country. What we do here is we'll just okay, let me write best salesperson by country. So we want to see the particular individual that sold the most products in each country. And what we do here is we also use a pivot table to do that. Insert, then pivot table. Here we don't need to add this data to model. So you see here now we are not able to like write our name. That's why I said you guys should always make sure you click on select a table, and then table 2, then okay. So how do we find the best salesperson? We can do that by adding salesperson in every country, then add the geography column also. Then you want to know how much they sold, which is I guess I have amounts here, and I think that's it. So here we can see that.
Zoom.
Okay, sorry. So what I did was I added sales and geography to the row column and my amount to the value column. So we can see that Barfogni sold this total amount, and we want to see the okay. So we want to see the highest we want to categorize them based on the country. So what we do is I think this is meant to be country. This is meant to be the country, then the salesperson. Let me switch that. I'm going to add geography first and then salesperson. Okay, yes. So this is what I want. Australia. We want to find out the maximum, the person that sold the most there. So what we are going to do is we're going to right click on this value, sort from largest to smallest. Okay, and we can see that Gigi Bohlin was the person that sold the most in Australia. In Canada is the same person. India, then New Zealand just sold the most Bar sold the most in the UK, and Ram Mahesh sold the most in the USA. So what the question says, we want to find the best salesperson for each country. So we are not really interested in saying the remaining guy's name here. So what we are going to do is you come to this particular place and you click on value filters. Then you click on top 10. But now we want to find the best salesperson. So we just write top one here. Then okay. So that is it. We have we can clearly see that, oh, these are the best salesperson in every country, and that's how we do that. So that's the last oh, okay. So that's the last question we are going to answer. Do you guys have any questions? Uh, is there any question? Do you guys understand, or is there anything you would like me to explain again? Okay, so if you guys understood, can you like react with your keyboard? Okay, that's nice. Okay, so I'll give you guys an assignment in case of next class. So I'll make sure that you guys will make sure you understood it properly. Basically, I want you to actually redo this stuff, because the way I'm explaining it like this, it might not really, like, when you have to do it yourself, you might have issues. But then I want you guys to come up with 3 questions you want to analyze from this data, with 3 questions. So that means you're going to have 9 questions. I want you guys to come up with 3, and the deadline is going to be on Monday. I'm going to send the submission link and as it. Okay, so I think we're done for today. You guys should have a nice time. And if you have any question, you can just ask on the group chat. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.